Hello BookTube, hello Tudorverse. I thought it would be fun to do a Friday wrap-up / reads, kind of mishmash those into the two. I haven't done one, and I enjoy watching them, so here goes. First on the list that I finished this week was Secrets of the Tudor Portraits by Sylvia Barbara Soberton. Fun book. I love portraiture. I started with the whole portraiture thing when I found the portrait that graces the cover of my second book, The Path to Somerset. The portrait is located in Sudeley Castle, and they never digitized it, so it's really not findable on the internet. But I was at Sudeley to take part in archaeological dig, where we were trying to dig up an Elizabethan garden, and I spent one day with a shovel in the trenches, and the second day in the finds room cleaning everything with a toothbrush. And that's definitely more my jam. But anyway, as I turned the corner, because of course I did the tour of Sudeley, I found a portrait that I recognized immediately as Edward Seymour, and not just any Edward Seymour, but my Edward Seymour. Other than this portrait, there are two that are very well known, and basically nothing else. And one was when he was a little bit younger, and you look at him and all you can think of is the Venetian ambassador's description of him as dry, dour, not my Edward. The other portrait is of him as Duke of Somerset, you know, the elder statesman, Bernie Sanders of his day, and that was not the Edward Seymour of The Path to Somerset. This tortured soul, that was it, and I recognized it immediately, and got them to send me great pictures and you know, allow me to use it. So I was thrilled about that. So I came to Sylvia Barbara Soberton's book expecting a lot of that kind of excitement, and I got it mostly. There were a couple of re-attributions, not of the artist, but re-identifications, where things that we have thought for years were one person were going to be another. And she also shot down a couple of portraits that people have tried to say were things, and they weren't. If you're into identification and that kind of portrait stuff, it's a lot of fun. It is, she focused on the stories behind the people more than the portraits. So there's a lot of like the basic Tudor politics that you get in the book. You know, point being, if you are a newcomer, it's kind of an easy slide into both the Tudorverse and the portrait section. And then I did a quick read of An Uncommon Reader. I mentioned this, that was part of my library stint. When I go to, I volunteer at the local library, and when I go, I choose a book that I just start to read during the day, in the hope that I'm going to get somebody else to read it. So I try to choose a book that people are going to like, and this time I broke my streak and no one actually took it away from me, but it's a great book and I kept it. I purchased it to keep it. Then I started reading Brian Sanderson's Mistborn. I had so many books on my TBR list, my to be read list. I want to read Careless People, which, that is a new release about the horrors going on at Meta and all of that. I want to read that. I want to read this book, The King's Fool, which is from the point of view of Will Summers, and I want to see how it compares to Margaret George. I'm dying to read that. But I'm reading Brian Sanderson's Mistborn. It is a buddy read that I'm doing with my daughter. Buddy read is the wrong word. And I don't really know what the actual word is. It is a deal read. So she is a high fantasy fan. Loves Brian Sanderson, has been trying to get me to read Brian Sanderson for a very long time. I did read Tress of something or other and enjoyed it very much, but she's been trying to get me to read Mistborn. And she finally got me to do it by promising that she, in exchange, would read Shogun. So, so there we go. Each one of us is going to get, in terms of this read, we're going to get the updates from each other. And I've already, I've had this experience with my son, who I got to read Shogun long ago, and had the most fun ever, you know, going and having the conversation each week. What are you up to? What are you reading? Where? What's going on? And just getting his reaction to all of that. The hardest and yet most wonderful thing about that entire process was the week when he said to me, I can't talk about it. I need a couple of days to process this. I am angry. I am devastated, and I need to just sit with this for a little bit. Mariko just died. And spoiler alert for those of you who haven't read the book, you should, but consider yourself warned. He said Clavel could very easily have allowed her to die in public, in the courtyard, so that her death could have meant something. Instead, he did it this way, and I cannot. I'm having a hard time accepting that. And I just had to sit there. Yes, that was the most devastating part of the entire book. I totally understand. Take as long as you need, without any kind of reaction, without anything. Great moment, great lifetime moment, truly. It's one of those things that would be on a bucket list if I had known about it, but now that it happened, I'm like so glad it did. That's it. That's kind of my wrap up. Not a lot of books. Most people have a lot more, but there you go. That is my my weekend is going to be parts 2 through however many of Mistborn. I read part 1. Very much enjoyed it. I got through explaining all the Allomancer things and what the different metals do and the push and the pull and the up and down and all of that. So I'm trying to hold on. I already understand that there are a couple of things that are just going over my head, but that's okay. That's for the people who have read it, have read multiple Sandersons, because you can already get the idea that there are little references that he puts in there. He's really good at that. He's really good at action. So there you go. I'll be giving more updates, and that's it. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks.